It's our stories. Welcome to a world where real stories sounds like a movie script.
It started like any ordinary Saturday morning, the kind where sunlight filters lazily through the blinds, the smell of fresh coffee hangs in the air, and the world seems calm. I reached for my phone, expecting a cheerful good morning from Nicole, my girlfriend of 3 years, the woman I shared my life and my house with. Instead, I got something that would twist my entire day, my week, maybe even my perspective on trust and relationships. Jonathan, I need some space. Don't contact me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Hope you understand. I stared at the screen, blinked, reread it, then blinked again. Space. That single word carried more weight than anything I could have imagined. In an instant, the room felt colder, the sunlight sharper, the quiet more oppressive. Space, polite, rational, yet devastating. My chest tightened, my stomach churned, and a strange knot of dread settled deep inside me. I tried to reason. Maybe it wasn't about me. Maybe she was overwhelmed at work. Maybe she just needed a breather. I told myself that. I tried to inhale deeply and stay calm because panic never helps in these situations. I typed carefully, measured every word, aiming for rationality over raw emotion. All right, Nicole, take the time you need, and then silence, absolute radio silence. That kind of silence that gnaws at your thoughts, that forces you to replay every conversation, every laugh, every argument, wondering what you missed. Weeks of normalcy suddenly felt like a fragile illusion. I replayed the last few months in my mind. The quiet evenings she seemed distracted, the subtle irritations, the small excuses. Had I been blind? Had I misread her affection, her moods, her intentions? A week passed in a haze. Each morning, I checked my phone reflexively, hoping for a sign, a message, a hint that things weren't falling apart. Each time I saw nothing, the dread multiplied. Memories of our shared apartment flooded me. The small victories, the nights cooking together, the mornings tangled in sheets, laughing at the silliest things. And now, space. She wanted space. But it felt like a chasm. Then came Friday, February 7th. I was scrolling Facebook, mindlessly, the usual stream of memes, vacation photos, baby updates, and motivational quotes that I barely paid attention to, when something popped up that made my stomach seize. It was an album, posted by a mutual acquaintance, a set of vacation photos, and there she was, Nicole, smiling, radiant, laughing. And not just smiling at Brandon, a married colleague of hers. My stomach sank to my shoes. Champagne, glasses raised, intimate hand-holding. The way their heads leaned together over candlelit dinners, the kind of poses that speak louder than words. Every frame, every angle screamed of intimacy, of secrets, of betrayal. I froze. My fingers hovered over the phone. My mind raced. I checked the dates. The trip lined up perfectly with the week she had asked for space. She hadn't just asked for distance. She had orchestrated an elaborate charade, all while keeping me in the dark, all while pretending that her need for solitude was legitimate. Space wasn't a need. It was a cover, a lie. A carefully plotted act of deceit. Anger rose first, like a sudden boiling storm. Then, slowly, a colder, sharper feeling replaced it. Clarity. Betrayal had a shape now. It had a face. And that face had a name, Brandon. A man she didn't just know, but had chosen for this secret adventure. Knowing full well he was married, knowing full well that I was at home, oblivious. The rational part of me wanted to scream, throw the phone, burn the photos. But another part, the strategic part that had always kept me grounded, took over. Nicole wanted consequences. She wanted the thrill of a secret, the indulgence of adventure, while leaving me as the unsuspecting partner. Fine. But there was one more person who deserved to see these photos. Brandon's wife, Rachel. She deserved the truth, in no uncertain terms. I spent the night gathering every piece of evidence. Photos from their hotel room, selfies too intimate to be accidental. Hand-holding on the beach, their bodies angled toward each other, not casually, not friendly. Candlelit dinners where Brandon's arm lingered too long, where Nicole's smile held a weight that hadn't existed with me. Every image was undeniable. Every one of them screamed betrayal. As I compiled them, memories of my life with Nicole surfaced. The nights we stayed up until 2 a.m. watching old movies. The mornings when she made me coffee, just the way I liked it. The small arguments about dishes or laundry that now seemed so trivial. I remembered thinking how lucky I was, how natural it felt to share my life with her. And now, The reality slammed me in the chest like a freight train. The very woman I had trusted completely had been lying to me, manipulating time, planning secrets while I assumed honesty. I opened Facebook and began typing. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I searched for words that would convey clarity, truth, and consequence. I wrote carefully, deliberately, with a purpose. Heard you needed space, Nicole. Looks like you found it. Hope it was worth it. Oh, and Rachel, I tagged her, thought you might want to see how your husband spends his business trips. Spontaneous adventures, soul connections. Truth hurts. I attached every photo. Every single one. Then I exhaled and hit post. And then I waited. About 30 minutes after the post went live, my phone started vibrating like it had been possessed. Calls, texts, DMs, from numbers I didn't recognize, friends I hadn't spoken to in months, even a few strangers who must have seen the post and been compelled to comment. Chaos in digital form, and it was glorious. The first call was from Brandon. His voice was a mixture of panic, fury, and disbelief. A cocktail I hadn't realized I could feel through a phone. Jonathan, what the hell are you doing? Take that down. You don't know what you're doing? My life, my marriage. Take it down. I didn't answer. Instead, I listened. The sound of his panic, the trembling in his voice, every stutter. It was a symphony of guilt and fear that I had orchestrated simply by showing the truth. Then Nicole called. Her voice trembled in a way that made my stomach tighten. She was scared, desperate, perhaps finally realizing the consequences of her choices. Jonathan, what have you done? Are you insane? You've ruined everything. Her words cut through the adrenaline pumping in my veins. She wasn't just panicking for show. This was raw fear. The fear of being exposed, the fear of losing control. But the entitlement that had been her hallmark was still present beneath the tremor. She expected me to fix everything, to make her mistakes disappear. The next barrage came from Rachel, Brandon's wife. Her voicemail was screaming, angry, almost theatrical in its intensity. Delete that post right now. Tell everyone it's a joke. Brandon is losing his mind. Jonathan, you can't do this. I could hear her trembling with rage, and I didn't respond. I let them stew in the consequences of their actions. The chaos they had created for themselves was the most delicious kind. Then the flying monkeys appeared. Nicole's friends and family swooping in to defend her perceived innocence. First, Samantha, her best friend, always shallow, always quick to judge. Jonathan, that was cruel. Nicole made a mistake, taking it public and dragging Rachel into this low blow. A low blow? Planning a secret vacation with a married man while lying to your partner was a betrayal, not a mistake. And Rachel deserved the truth. That part was simple, unambiguous. Pamela, Nicole's older sister, called next. She had always treated Nicole as a saint, untouchable, above reproach. Jonathan, I cannot believe your cruelty. Nicole is heartbroken. Brandon's wife is furious. You've destroyed lives. Her voice carried the moral authority she always tried to project, but I didn't react. I blocked Nicole on all platforms, phone, social media, everything. I let the chaos ripple outward, untouched by my hands. The truth had already been revealed. That was enough. And then a message from Rachel came, calm and measured, almost a relief amid the storm. Thank you. I don't know all the details from your side, but the pictures speak for themselves. I appreciate you letting me know. Her composure was almost inspiring. She was handling this betrayal with dignity, a stark contrast to Nicole's panic and Brandon's desperation. The post went viral locally. Friends, acquaintances, even strangers were sharing, commenting, dissecting every photo, every caption, every implication. Nicole and Brandon became subjects of gossip and outrage, and me? I watched quietly, methodically. The chaos was theirs. I didn't need to lift another finger. Yet the intensity of their reaction was mesmerizing. Nicole's panic escalated, her calls more desperate, sometimes crying, sometimes pleading, sometimes threatening. Brandon tried to negotiate, bargaining as if exposure could be reversed. Every message, every call was a testament to the fact that truth has consequences. Swift, merciless, inescapable. I remember sitting back on my couch that night, staring at the ceiling. The adrenaline, the rage, the betrayal, it all churned inside me. But underneath it, I felt a deep, cold clarity. I wasn't just reacting. I was observing. Every misstep, every manipulation attempt, every desperate plea, they were revealing themselves. The full picture of their entitlement, of their audacity, of the sheer recklessness of their betrayal. I thought back to our life together, the quiet mornings, the silly arguments, the laughter in the kitchen, and now every memory was tinted with the knowledge that it had been built on a lie. My trust had been weaponized against me, and yet here I was, holding the only card that mattered: truth. It was one Thursday evening, about 5 days after the post had gone viral, when things escalated in a way I hadn't anticipated. I was sitting in my living room, laptop open, trying to catch up on work, the sounds of the city outside muted behind the double-pane windows. And then, the ping of my doorbell. I glanced at the security camera. Nicole, disheveled, eyes wide, hair messy, clothing wrinkled like she hadn't slept. Panic radiated from her like heat waves. She tried her old key in the lock. Denied. She fumbled with the smart lock. Denied again, and then came the pounding. Heavy, aggressive, frantic. Each bang rattled the door frame and sent a shiver up my spine. Jonathan, I know you're in there. Open this door. This is my home, too. I have rights. I leaned back in my chair and watched through the camera, silent, calculating. Rights? Not in my house, not after what had happened. Betrayal changes everything. I didn't move. I didn't answer. Let her vent. Let the theater of entitlement play out. Minutes later, a car rolled up. Out of it stepped Pamela, Nicole's older sister, moral outrage written all over her face, and Carolyn, their mother, radiating the kind of protective fury only a parent can muster. Jonathan, open this door immediately. You cannot lock our Nicole out. This is cruel. Carolyn's voice boomed, a mixture of authority and hysteria. We're calling the police if you don't comply. This is harassment, Pamela added, waving her phone threateningly. I stayed silent. Police? Over changing the locks on my own house because my girlfriend cheated on me? I leaned back, sipping my coffee, and let them shout. Be my guest. Nicole's screaming intensified. Her phone came out, probably recording, the better to manipulate witnesses or post online. Every sob, every shriek, every demand for justice was broadcast into my quiet living room. The neighborhood could hear her. Neighbors peeked from windows, cars slowed down on the street, and I could almost sense the gossip beginning before it even spread. And then came the follow-up phase, the smear campaign. Mutual friends and acquaintances began contacting me, forwarding messages carefully crafted by Nicole's camp. You threw Nicole out with nothing. You were controlling. You punished her for wanting independence. Brandon's wife is psycho. Nicole was only supportive. You twisted everything. The mental gymnastics were staggering. Nicole as the victim, Brandon as the misunderstood, Rachel as the villain, and me, the monster. I didn't answer most messages. I only sent a few key friends the concise truth, linking them to the Facebook post. Most understood immediately, but it didn't stop there. The audacity of their next moves almost made me laugh. A call from my boss, a formal HR inquiry. Anonymous emails claiming I was unstable, prone to violent outbursts, creating a hostile environment in the workplace. They even implied I might misuse sensitive company data. Thankfully, my boss knew me. We spoke, calmly. I showed him Rachel's message, explained the context, and HR conducted a brief investigation that fizzled almost immediately. Their desperate attempts to manipulate reality, to weaponize lies, were as pathetic as they were predictable. Then came the petty attacks. Someone reported my car as abandoned, orange sticker slapped on the windshield. Resolved with a phone call, but the message was clear. They wanted to intimidate, provoke, make me react emotionally. Then, the pièce de résistance, Nicole, through Carolyn, demanded a share of the house. A voicemail claimed she had invested emotionally, done household upkeep, bought groceries occasionally. The audacity of asking for $50,000 for emotional labor and loss of residence made me laugh out loud. I recorded and saved it, every word a gem of entitlement. It was time to escalate. I hired a lawyer, sharp, precise, unyielding. Step 1, cease and desist. Nicole, Pamela, and Carolyn. Harassment, defamation, threats, all spelled out in black and white. Attachments? Their own texts and voicemails, the evidence of their desperate chaos. Step 2, the belongings standoff. Nicole, through Carolyn, demanded access to her things. My lawyer's reply. She provides a list. Jonathan packs them. A neutral third party collects them from the curb at a scheduled time. No entry into my house. Items unclaimed after 7 days. Disposed. Outrage exploded. Carolyn practically foamed at the mouth. Step 3, the knockout blow. Brandon and Rachel. Rachel filed for divorce, naming Nicole for adultery. My lawyer offered her full cooperation, including evidence: the space text, the Facebook post, Nicole's panicked voicemails. Brandon tried to claim victimhood. My evidence vaporized that defense. The fallout was biblical. Brandon's career imploded. Financial ruin. Reputation destroyed. He reportedly fled the state to live with his parents. Nicole? Unemployable locally, jobless, living under her mother's roof. Every manipulative tactic she had relied on, every sob story, every plea for sympathy, useless. They had detonated their own lives, and me? I watched it unfold like a strategist overseeing a perfect plan. Calm, methodical, free. My life, my home, my peace. Intact. Отлично. Переходим к блок 4. Final cleanup, consequences, and closure. Expanded version. Здесь мы завершаем историю. Подробно описываем возвращение вещей. Восстановление дома и жизни героя. Последствия для Николы и Брэндон. Внутренние переживания героя и финальные мысли. Months had passed since the viral post, yet the echo of that first Saturday, Nicole's text, the Facebook post, the storm of calls and panic still lingered in my mind, like an electric hum under the surface of daily life. Life, however, had begun to settle slowly, deliberately. Silence, absolute and peaceful, became my new normal. The cease and desist letter, backed by legal authority, worked like a charm. Nicole, Pamela, and Carolyn were forced into submission. No more harassment, no more calls, no more messages demanding access or retribution. Nicole eventually sent a list of her belongings through Carolyn. I remember opening it and feeling a mixture of amusement and disbelief. The list was absurdly long, including cheap trinkets, inspirational plaques that had always irritated me, half-read self-help books, and a few of her personal items that she insisted were valuable. Many of these things I had purchased years before she moved in. I could almost hear the mental justification forming in her mind. I contributed emotionally. I deserve half of everything. Following my lawyer's instructions, I boxed everything meticulously, carefully labeling items for neutral third-party collection. I felt an unexpected sense of satisfaction with every box packed. Every inspirational plaque removed from my shelves felt like reclaiming a piece of my mental space. Every knick-knack I had silently tolerated for years was now gone. Each item became symbolic, representing not only her physical presence in my life, but also the lies, the betrayal, and the manipulation that had accompanied it. I may have accidentally damaged a few of the more obnoxious plaques. It felt like poetic justice, a tiny revenge for the countless subtle annoyances she had inflicted over the years. On the designated Saturday, a man with a van arrived to collect the boxes, supervised by Pamela from her car. Nicole did not appear. Perfect. Her absence symbolized the finality of her self-made consequences. Meanwhile, the fallout for the villains was as sweet as I had hoped. Rachel's divorce from Brandon moved forward smoothly, aided in part by the evidence I had provided. The text from Nicole, the post, the voicemails documenting panic and desperation. Brandon's career was in ruins, his reputation destroyed. He fled the state to live with his parents. Every lie, every manipulation he had counted on to protect himself had crumbled under the weight of evidence. Nicole's consequences were no less severe. Unemployable, living under her mother's roof, socially ostracized, she became a pariah among her friends. Even Samantha, her once loyal best friend, abandoned her when the truth about the affair and her social manipulation became clear. Misery, it seems, does not love company when that company offers no benefit. One anecdote struck me as particularly telling. A mutual acquaintance mentioned that Nicole had complained I should have warned her about the severity of the consequences. The audacity, as if her actions, deceit, manipulation, betrayal, were acceptable, and only my response was the problem. Some people truly lack the ability to self-reflect, and me? Peaceful, finally. The house felt entirely mine again. I redecorated, purged, and organized. Every corner, every shelf, every surface was reclaimed. It was more than just cleaning. It was symbolic. I was removing the lingering shadows of deceit and manipulation from my life, reasserting control, and taking back the sanctuary that had been temporarily violated. The Facebook post tagging Brandon's wife? That was intentional, deliberate, and fully justified. Every small insult Nicole had ever directed at me, every subtle way she had undermined my confidence, every whispered plan she had executed behind my back, It all culminated in that single act of clarity. 0 regrets. They assumed I was a doormat. Instead, they found a strategist, calm and deliberate, and now, months later, life feels calm. I sleep well. I wake up with peace instead of dread. My home is mine. My time is mine. My energy is mine. I have learned lessons that I could never have imagined before. Trust, boundaries, consequences, and the power of strategic patience. As I look back on the entire saga, a few questions linger. Questions I pose to you, the viewer. Have you ever been blindsided by someone you trusted completely? How did you handle it? If you were in my position, would you have taken the same steps or chosen a different approach? What do you think is the most satisfying way to deal with betrayal? Exposure, confrontation, or walking away? Drop your experiences, opinions, or strategies in the comments. Sharing stories of deception and recovery helps us understand human behavior, and sometimes it helps us heal. Thank you for staying with me until the end. How would you have acted in the protagonist's place? Write your thoughts in the comments. More fresh and controversial stories every day on my profile. Like and subscribe to this channel.